going to get started. So, a couple announcements and reminders for you guys. First thing is, I know I've said it, but I really want to make sure because it happens every single time because people miss out on TWK apparel. Train with Kelsey apparel is a lot live through Monday. Okay, Monday night at midnight. But I'm trying to make sure everybody gets their orders in. If you need to edit or add or change your order, you also can do that as well. I can resend you the link to do that. It's no problem. Or I can add things for you manually on the back end. But again, this is made to order. So this stuff will go to print by, if we do the order, close it Monday night. I have to confirm it probably Tuesday morning. It'll go to print Tuesday, Wednesday. It'll likely be shipped out to you guys by Friday, if not like the next Monday at the latest. So by the end of next week, you should all have your apparel in, which I'm really excited about. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, if you have not already and you were attending the team retreat, please fill out the Google form. Please, please, please fill that out. That's going to help me so much as I'm going to try to secure. I have this weekend at home, actually. I'm going to try to secure lodging for all of us, or just like lodging for like whatever people want to do. So with it being about 2 months out, this is the perfect time to do so. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, we're going to jump into our team call topic tonight about sleep, but specifically hormones with sleep. Okay. So in my functional medicine right now, we are in the endocrine intensive. Endocrine is the word for hormones. And when we talk about hormones, we talk about just differences of how, different life events, different stressors, different diets, different, again, sleep patterns, all of that can kind of affect our hormones. So I want to talk to you guys about two different hormones because you all have experienced these hormones before, but I really want to talk about what sleep does with this. So we're going to talk about how sleep impacts fat burning and metabolism. Remember, your metabolism is how, again, you metabolize food, meaning how do you digest it, absorb it, utilize it, right? Because none of us are using 100% of the food that we're eating because the body's going to deem some of it necessary and some of it unnecessary. Perfect example is when you eat something like corn, right? Goes right through your body, really doesn't have a ton of nutritional value other than like the middle portion of the corn because it's just not fiber that we all can digest. So that celery, different things like that, again, our body's not going to use all of that because it's not something our body can digest. But how do we make sure you're utilizing the most amount of your food? That comes from regularly exercising, taking OptiGreens, microfactor, making sure that you're trying to ward off sickness as much as possible. You're repairing the gut. You eat, probiotic rich foods. You eat fiber, you eat fruits and veggies, right? All that stuff. But again, there is a really big impact on two hormones specifically that I kind of want to talk to you guys about tonight because I found it really interesting and again, just wanted to share it with you. So we all know sleep is critical for metabolic health, right? For our rest and digest. We've got the fight or flight. We have to have the rest and digest, but it's also critical for weight management and overall well-being. So let's talk about what is actually happening during sleep. I'm going to give you like the first 6 hours of sleep, okay? So when we go to bed for the first, 1 to 2 hours, you are using energy from carbohydrates that you've eaten throughout the day or, food sources throughout the day. So the first 2 hours, your body is using glucose or sugar from what you just ate. The 2 hours after that, your body is using sugar in the form from the liver called glycogen. Glycogen is just the stored form of glucose. So it's the stored form of sugar. We all need glycogen, and the liver will process enough glycogen to keep it there. And then when we process too much glycogen, that's what runs over and it leads into fat storage. But the liver itself will make sure that it's supplying your body with glycogen to sustain that blood sugar overnight, right? Because you still do need your blood sugar to be active overnight. Why? Well, you've got your heart rate, you've got your lungs, you've got your brain, you've got things during sleep that still need to be supplied, right? It's not like we just whoop all the way shut down like a computer, right? We still have to stay functioning. So first 2 hours from what you ate, second 2 hours from what the liver stored, and then the 2 hours after that, so leaning more towards like 5, 6, 7 hours, here is where your fat burning kicks in. The body can no longer use all those carbs up because it has. The liver has utilized all of the glycogen that it's comfortable giving to you, and so it taps into your fat stores. So there is something to say that, hey, when we sleep for longer periods of time, we burn more fat, which is exactly why I tell, and I've encouraged you guys before, women need more sleep than men, right? Women technically need about 8 to 9 hours, whereas men can function on 6 to 7 hours. Women cannot function on that or cannot function on that long term. And if you think you can, I'm sorry, but you're wrong, right? Now I know some of you who are like, well, I got a baby, I got a toddler, it's really hard. But again, eventually that changes, right? We can't live the rest of our lives like that. So with all of that being said, it's really important to know that time frame of why that 6 hours is so important. Because if you are only sleeping 5 hours, you're never getting to that fat burning stage. You're never getting to that stage where your body is again burning that fat for fuel. So it's why I'm going to encourage you guys to sleep longer on the weekends, right? There is something to show if you've never done this. If you step on the scale after a night of 6 hours of sleep versus you step on the scale after a night of 10 hours of sleep, there's almost always going to be a decrease on the scale in the nights that you sleep more because more sleep equals more fat burning throughout this entire process. So, again, that's the first thing. And that's the thing I thought that was really interesting to break it down like that. First 2 hours of sleep, you're burning the carbs that you ate. Second 2 hours of sleep, you're burning what the liver stores. And then the hours, 2 hours after that and onward, so 6 hours and onward, is all about fat burning stages. So sleep, 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 sleep. That's going to massively help you guys. So again, that's the first thing. Now, the second thing is sleep is going to give you the perfect balance if you're sleeping adequately between something that's called ghrelin and something that's called leptin. Okay, these two hormones, this ghrelin and leptin hormones, they are all about the yin and the yang of being hungry and being satisfied. So, ghrelin is the hunger hormone. How you can remember that is I think of ghrelin like growling and your stomach is growling, so you're hungry. So, ghrelin is our hungry hormone. Leptin, on the other hand, is our satiated hormone. That tells you, hey, I'm full, stop, I don't need to be eating anymore. All right, so those are the differences. So again, with ghrelin and leptin, they're always working inversely of one another. You haven't eaten since lunch, it's dinner time, you're experiencing ghrelin. As soon as you eat dinner, you're going to be experiencing leptin, right? So they're constantly working, very similar to glucose and insulin, right? Sugar goes in the body, insulin is going to come into the body, lower the blood sugar, right? All of that. So with ghrelin, this is really, really, really interesting, you guys. Okay, this is going to blow your mind. Lack of sleep increases your ghrelin levels, so increases your hunger levels, right? Because your body's trying to recuperate, it's trying to get more energy because you didn't give it the repair that it needed. So it's kind of like the body asking for caffeine. But lack of sleep increases ghrelin, leading to heightened appetite and cravings for high calorie foods, specific high calorie processed foods. They've done tons of studies about this. When people wake up and they sleep like garbage, do you think somebody thinks about like, man, right now, I want a big steak and eggs, or I want a big, hash brown breakfast? A lot of them are probably thinking, I want pancakes, I want French toast, I want cookies, I want pies, I want pastries, I want donuts, right? We want the sugar, we want the process because we're trying to get up our energy. But studies show that 1 to 2 hours less, so 1 to 2 hours less of sleep than your normal increases ghrelin by up to 15%. That means if you normally sleep 8 hours and you get 6 or 7 hours, you are potentially likely to be 15% more hungry that next day, but not necessarily hungry for the right things. But if we know that, if we know, okay, my hunger is likely going to be increased, well, what do? We make sure we have a breakfast that's very satiating, right? A breakfast that is satiating is things with protein, things with complex carbs. So if you had some sweet potatoes and some eggs and some spinach in your eggs and maybe a piece of sourdough, great. Versus again, the donut, the oatmeal cream pie, the whatever, right? So if we know that again, it's going to be increased by 15% if we don't sleep as well, we can combat that. And on the other side of it, so the leptin hormone, the hormone that tells you you're full. Leptin is your satiety hormone. It tells you to stop eating. Sleep deprivation reduces leptin. So it's increasing ghrelin, reduces leptin, making it harder to feel satisfied after meals. And reduced leptin can lead to a 20% drop in satiety signals, promoting weight gain. So if you sleep, again, 1 to 2 hours less, you're 15 more percent likely to be hungry and 20% less likely to feel full. Guys, that's wild, right? We're not talking about a percent. You're talking about 20%, 15%. Those are significant enough for us to pay attention to, right? So when we're sleeping, the body repairs tissues and again burns fat for energy. It releases growth hormone, which growth hormone is something we want our entire lives, right? Growth hormone it helps produce some of our sex hormones. It produces our hair follicles, our nail follicles, how strong and resilient our skin is, how well we can heal from injuries, right? That's so important. Muscle maintenance. So, growth hormone is definitely and only produced during sleep. So, if we're cutting down that sleep, well, you've probably heard, okay, you're more susceptible to, being immunocompromised. You're more susceptible to, risks of infections or bouts of stress really hitting you hard, anxiety, depression, all that stuff. So again, poor sleep truly can sabotage diet and exercise efforts, even with a healthy lifestyle. And consistent sleep schedules stabilize ghrelin and leptin, supporting weight management. So again, what should we do? We're not all going to sleep great at night, right? We all desire that 8 hours. I don't know about you guys, but like I hate not getting 8 hours. If I get anything less than 7, I am crabby. I do not feel good. And that's I've just trained myself to be that way. I like to strive for 8. So if we know we're going to get less sleep, being aware of like, okay, today I'm probably going to feel a little more hungry. My fullness cues might not be on, but I can control that. I have control. I can combat that by saying, okay, I'm going to start my morning with breakfast. I'm going to make sure throughout the day I have Formula One clear, or I make level one in Greek yogurt and some berries. Or, you know what, I am going to go train today so that I can get that post workout in. Or I'm going to make sure I have salmon for dinner, have chicken for dinner, something like that. But again, knowing that is important. Because I think what happens to a lot of us, and it's no fault to your own or my own, but what happens is we sleep like crap and then we eat like crap, but we're like, oh, I don't know why I'm craving, or I don't know why I'm having these feelings, or I don't know why. Well, we do know, right? It's probably because you're not sleeping as good. So aiming for, 7 to 9 hours a night of quality sleep is everything. And I also understand, again, not every season is going to yield that. Not every season are you going to have availability for sleep like that. But control what you can control. If you need to sleep in a little bit extra on the weekends, do it. If you need to take a nap and recharge, do it, right? Maintaining, again, that consistent sleep schedule, bedtime and wake time to the best of your ability is going to be huge. And multiple times we've talked about, hey, how do you create a sleep environment, right? Is it dark? Is it cool? Is it calming? Is it relaxing? Do you not have the TV on? Like, what's going on in your sleep environment, right? But then in addition to that, are you limiting screen time? Are you limiting caffeine, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? So all of you have experienced these hormones, right? I'm experiencing ghrelin right now. I am hungry right now. I'm so excited to eat dinner tonight. But then you've also felt the contrary of being too full. But again, on a night where you don't sleep as well, those signals can potentially be diminished. I was listening to a registered dietitian probably about like 3 years ago now. And he said this back then, but it didn't make sense to me. And he said, when you sleep like crap and you wake up, your body processes food, it processes sugar very similar to a diabetic, meaning you can't regulate your insulin levels, your glucose levels. You have a really hard time doing that. And then in addition to that, and in addition to not being able to regulate, your ghrelin's off, your leptin's off, right? The growling hormone, the G for ghrelin, G for growling, right? That's your hunger hormone. And then the other side of it with leptin, that stuff's going to be all wonky anyway. So he's so right. If you don't sleep good, your body is processing sugar like a diabetic. The need for overdrive, the potential need for more insulin. You eat sugary foods, you're going to spike your blood sugar and then you're going to tank it. That's really, really hard on your body if we do that every single day for the rest of our life. So, thinking about this and just kind of being mindful of this is huge. And the other thing I remember hearing this dietitian talk about, and this was confirmed actually yesterday when I was learning in my functional medicine course, you are 30% more likely to increase your daily fat burn when you start your day with breakfast, with protein specifically. So if you have a protein breakfast, you are 30% more likely to burn fat that day. If you have a breakfast that does not contain any protein, you are 30% less likely to burn fat that day. I don't know about you guys, but I want the 30%, right? I do not want the 30%. And now in our world, we're so fortunate. We have so many different options. We have Greek yogurts. We have higher protein cereals. We have level one, Formula One clear. We have the ability to make protein pancakes, egg cups, omelets, you name it, right? We have done a really great job of focusing on high protein breakfast. But specifically, every day, if you want to burn more fat, 30% more fat, you got to start your day with protein. And then, especially when you sleep like crap, you need to focus on that protein even more because your body's processing like a diabetic and your hormones are off. The good news is some of you are probably wondering, okay, Kels, well, what if my hormones are off? How long does it take me to reset them? 24 hours, the next night of sleep. When you get that circadian rhythm back, when you get that back into your routine, when you get that, that regulated your sleep wake cycle, that's going to be really important to try to get it right back on track as much as you can. You can't make up sleep, right? But you can sleep extra if you feel like you need more. You need adequacy of that sleep. So I think that's really interesting. And it's something I wanted to bring up to you guys because I like the science behind it. I like the hormones. I like knowing what I'm feeling, what I'm experiencing. Why is it important? I love the numbers, the statistics, everything like that. So just kind of think about that and remember, okay, you know what? We're traveling, didn't sleep as good, potentially going to have some cravings. Let me kind of combat that. So I want to open the floor to you guys. Do you feel like you've experienced this when you don't sleep as good? Or do you have any questions or comments or things you want to add about the conversation that we're having tonight? Emily said, "Oh, yes. I'm assuming you mean, Emily, that you've experienced this before." Annette said, "I absolutely feel this." Yeah. And the closer you pay attention to it, you'll realize the stronger it is, right? There's a lot of I'm working with one of my in-person clients specifically who she is very much recovering, but she really struggled from binge eating. And what we broke it down to is I was like, you're literally sleeping less than 5 hours a night every single night. And you did that for years throughout your profession, but like how are you still functioning with this? I'm like, your ghrelin and leptin is so confused because you're not sleeping long enough. And once she started sleeping more and we focused heavily on protein, is her binge eating gone? No, but is it drastically reduced? Absolutely. Had you guys heard of those hormones before? Have you heard of ghrelin and leptin, or was this kind of your first time hearing of them? You probably knew, well, you felt it, but you maybe didn't know what you were feeling. Yeah, I know. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, and that you said you heard of them, but you didn't know that you burn fat at night. Yes. So 6 hours into sleep, you're converting to fat burning, right? Because again, all of the food essentially in your stomach is gone. You're fasting now. All your liver stores of glycogen gone, and then you've got to pull the energy from somewhere. So you're pulling it from fat, which is a really great thing. I know, Chrissy, isn't that crazy? 30% with regard to protein in the morning is wild. Yes. So, for example, my cousin, love her dearly. I don't always agree with her parenting choices, but I'm also not a parent. So I'm like, you know what? I really can't judge. However, she feeds her daughter Cheetos and jelly beans for breakfast. And she wonders why she's going off to 4K and she's already like very obese. And, her daughter's really struggling to like make friends and different things like that. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's because we're literally not doing anything for her body to burn the fat, right? We're just contributing to the problem. Her satiety signals are so messed up. And then when we get into the like enriched wheat flour, for example, enriched wheat flour versus like milled flour, you're going to feel very different things too. You're going to feel so much more satisfied off one or the other. My favorite comparison is a Rice Krispie to a sweet potato. You're going to feel so much more full off of a sweet potato. It'd be nice if it was Rice Krispie, a sweet potato, than you are going to be over the Rice Krispie, right? Um, Yes, Chris, you got it right. Good to know those ratios. 2 hours into sleep, you're burning the carbs that you ate throughout the day because they're still in your digestive system, right? They stay there for 3 to 4 hours, so you're burning your dinner. 2 hours after that, you're pulling from the sugar that's stored in the liver, which is glycogen. Glycogen is just the stored form of glucose, so the sugar we eat is glucose. It's stored as glycogen. And yep, 2 hours after that, you're burning fat stores. So that's why we say, hey, like you got to sleep 7 to 9 hours a night. And my goal is just 8, right? So you have at least 4 hours of fat burning every single night. But The other thing I was going to say too is a lot of the times I notice very, very much across the board for our team and for our clients. I'll speak to the castor oil pack in just a second, Chrissy. The very much what I see across the team and across the board for our summer term is a lot of the times we see less weight loss in the summer. Why is that? Well, longer light equals less sleep, right? Not a lot of us are sleeping as much because every time Logan and I go up north, I forget that it stays light until like 9:30, sometimes 10 o'clock. I'm not used to that here, and we're so much farther, like from where I am in Wisconsin, we're so much farther like south and east than home that like we set a lot earlier. And so, no, Annette, it's not the barbecue. But think about that, right? You all stay up much longer in the summer than you do the winter because it's lighter outside. There's more activities later at night. The weather's nicer, right? So it's not a really big question why a lot of us sometimes don't lose a lot of weight in the summer because we're not promoting ourselves through a ton of fat burning from a sleep perspective. Now, that's not to say that it can't be done, but I don't think any of us can sit here and say we sleep more in the summer than we sleep in the winter. I know I sleep a shit ton more in the winter, but that's just me. So back to Christy's question about can castor oil aid in that process of detox through the liver? 100%. Yes. I just did an announcement 2 days ago in the first form app on castor oil packs of how do you set up the pack? How much oil do you use? Where do you place it? Like the whole rundown. I did that in the app because I've been getting a lot of questions about it. And I also linked the castor oil and the packs that I use on my Amazon storefront. Those are like hands down the best ones that I've experienced. And very similar like to castor oil, you want to get an opaque bottle where you don't want like a clear bottle. The same way you want to keep olive oil and avocado oil in opaque bottles as well so it doesn't go rancid. Same thing with castor oil, but absolutely anything to support liver detox, right? So yeah, yeah, I love the connection, Christy. Great job. I know Emily and I have talked about liver detox of like, hey, phase one liver detoxification, and you guys can all go back and look at my Invictus Insider because I did a liver letter. Lemon, specifically limonene, so lemon from there or the oil from the peel on the outside, fantastic for phase one liver detox. So you guys probably can't see it in here, but I have two lemons at the bottom. I'm sipping on lemon water, quite frequently. You got to be a little careful with your uh enamel with the lemon, but that's going to be really great. The brassica family, so broccolis and cauliflowers, those are great for phase one liver detox, but also castor oil is great. Chrissy, everybody's different. So every time I put my pack on, by the next day, I can feel it. And I can feel it because my digestive transit time is a little bit different. And it's not weird for me to talk about because I talk about this all day with in-person nutrition clients, but my stool is different. So that's something that you can pay attention to. Like it's much easier for me to pass. It's not like, to the point where I'm worried about anything being liquid, but I don't have to strain, I don't have to struggle at all. And I just feel like I get more out of my body. I also notice bloating for me is significantly less. So that's what I notice. I've got a couple clients who their eczema is much better, their psoriasis is much better, acne on their faces have cleared up, especially where the liver, you guys probably all heard the facial map tells you like different areas of your body, right? So if you get, cheek acne or chin acne or forehead acne, that correlates with parts of your digestive system. It's definitely something that can help. Yes, absolutely. Also, it does help with inflammation, 100%. Anytime bloating is going down, you're moving things through the digestive system. You're encouraging that transit time. Again, not speeding it up so it's uncomfortable for you, but 100% you notice I notice the difference. Does anybody else on here use castor oil packs right now? Emily, I know you had ordered some. Have you used them yet? Oh, Annette, you use them. Would you mind sharing your experience with, like, if you notice anything specifically, or if you've noticed in the past? Everybody's a little bit different.
Yeah, I can't say like I haven't been as consistent in using them. I did for like the first week.
Okay.
But now I'm having some issues again. So, and then you had posted that video, so I'm like, I need to get back to it. I just like I get a lot of pain in that area,
Yeah.
and I feel like I feel less like I don't even know, like full, like less, I don't know how to less inflamed, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
is what I noticed. Like it just feels less puffy. Um, if that makes sense.
Totally. Yeah. I appreciate you sharing that. Like I said, everybody's different in how their bodies are going to process through it. I'm excited for you, Emily, when you get yours. You said you get them tomorrow. That's awesome. And castor oil packs are not something you need to do every single day. Like I said, I do it about 4 times a week. Sometimes I'll do them a few more than other times. For example, when we went to the beach for Labor Day, so not last weekend, but the weekend before, we indulged in some alcoholic beverages. We ate some food we didn't have before. When I got home, I did castor oil packs probably like 4 days in a row, just to kind of again help my body a little bit, clear it out. It's all natural, and so your body can't build a toxicity to it. The only time, and let me just say this because I know there's going to be a few women watching this call who are currently pregnant, you cannot use it when you're pregnant because it can induce labor. So if you're one of the girlies on the team that's pregnant, because there's a couple of you, please do not use castor oil. Okay. I need to edit my announcement and make that disclaimer as well. Typically doctors will tell you that too. Like castor oil is not one of the things you can use when you're pregnant. Now, if you're at the end of your pregnancy and you need to induce labor, we can talk about that. I gave one of my pregnant patients castor oil last week and she had her baby the next day. So, but she was already 40 weeks and 2 days. So she was fine. Um, yes, yes, Christy. It truly, it's an oil that has been medicinal and literally around for hundreds of years. I use it on my face. Like that's literally my moisturizer. Like I use that and Dime's blue facial oil to like, so I get some antimicrobial as well. But I just have a castor oil. It's got a little bit of rosemary in it, and that's how I wash out my face every night. And every morning, and it's easy peasy. So but yeah, I love what this turned into. This is a great call. I'm talking about castor oil packs and things like that. I used to think it was woo-woo, and then I tried it and I was like, oh, I actually feel a lot better doing this. So a nice natural way to kind of get things moving too. So I hope you guys took something away from tonight. It sounds like a lot of you did. This is like some of the most interaction we've had in a while. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Emily, we can talk about lymphatic drainage or a chart on how to. I'm gonna give you a really quick rundown, and then that's probably something I should turn into a Facebook group topic. Anytime you're trying to drain the lymph, something that we need to know is the upper body flows to the chest and the lower body flows to the groin. Okay, so you never want to push lymph down your arms. You'd always want to bring it back towards your center. Anytime you're draining the head, pull away from the head, never push up towards the head. So if you're going to drain your cervical chain of lymph nodes, which if you feel that big muscle right there, it's your SCM, it feels like a seat belt. You have lymph nodes that run all along the front and the back of it. You just always want to pull down. And then I like to open my lymph nodes on the top of my clavicles, so your collarbones. So I like to open these before I do anything, just to kind of like move things around and let the body know I'm going to start draining. So if you're gua shawing or you're dry brushing, you probably hear a lot of dry brushing with lymph. It's to get it to stimulate. You want to pull, again, up the extremities to the center of the chest, or you want to pull the legs up to the groin. So that's going to be the best thing for lymphatic drainage. But I'll do a Facebook topic on it. Maybe we can even talk about it next week because it's a really, really good topic and every single person can benefit from lymphatic drainage. So I like it. Yeah, you're welcome. Cool. Well, I'd love for you guys to let me know in your assessments this week or in messages. I'm going to be totally transparent with you. I am a little bit behind on assessment, so I'm going to work on a couple here tonight. But otherwise, I have time at my desk tomorrow, and I'll have them back to you guys by Friday night. I'll maybe we'll do that next week, Annette. That's good to know. A lymphatic drainage team call. I like that. We did the lymphatic breathing a while ago, but specifically lymphatic drainage, I'll talk about. But let me know in your guys' messages this week, what did you take away from this call? Did you learn about ghrelin? Did you learn about leptin? Even if you said it here, like let me know what your takeaway was, because then I can turn it into the Facebook group and really kind of talk more about it, or we can expand upon it, or I can do follow-up announcements about it too. So I hope you guys have a really good rest of the night. I will take these things into consideration. Thank you for being here with me, and we'll plan on checking in soon. Have a great rest of your week. Okay? Bye, y'all.